This is group picture I drew of Straw Hat Pirates using kind of reverse with the shadows type of, I guess, drawing technique. If you like, remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
One Piece, Chapter 117, Dory and Bragi.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic and prehistoric tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us being introduced to Dory and Bragi, the two giants, and it ended with them, basically going at it again. They've had a 100-year war, and they basically battle to see who is the best, but clearly must be evenly matched because neither one seems to win, and it has been going on for 100 years. Every time the volcano on the island erupts, they agree to meet at this mutual meeting point and fight, presumably until the death. But as I said, doing this for 100 years, we can only assume that it winds up ending in a draw. So the beginning of this chapter, though, it takes us to another island on the Grand Line, and we are introduced very quickly and very briefly, just within a couple of pages, to a couple more of the Baroque Works agents, another team. We have Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek. And it starts off with Miss Goldenweek saying, hey, Mr. 3, and talking to him and using his code name. And he's like, hey, we're on vacation. We don't get much reprieve in between assignments. Just enjoy it. And he goes, and stop calling me by my code name. You're giving away my secret identity. And then they show a picture of him, and the guy's got his hair kind of pulled up like the samurais do, except for it's knotted at 3 different places, so it actually makes a 3 on the top of his head. And he's drinking from a teacup or a coffee cup that has 3s all over it. And she's like, really? I'm giving something away. So it's kind of ironic and sort of comical and funny how Oda throws these little things in there, Certainly nobody is giving away anybody's identity, nor does anybody care. It's kind of like if anybody's ever seen Jurassic Park, Dennis Nedry, the bigger guy at the beginning that's going to double cross and steal the embryos, the dinosaur embryos. He's sitting there and the other guy's trying to be all low key, and he's got this straw hat on and sunglasses and stuff, and he's just like, Dotson, we've got Dotson here. See, nobody cares, So it really just a comical exchange between them. We find out that that Miss Goldenweek has received word from the boss, and that apparently the word on the street is that Mr. 5 has been killed. Mr. 3 makes some mention of that basically he's an idiot, did not have good use of his powers. Ultimately, what he is he says that it takes a really great mind and certain type of drive to be evil. And he says that, basically, your best asset is your brain. So they have clearly been put on the path now, and they're the next ones that are kind of being called to arms, I guess, to go and take out, of course, Nami, Luffy, and Zoro, and Princess Vivi. So that's what we can assume. It then goes back to the island, to Little Garden, and we picks up where the last chapter left off with Dory and Broggy just kind of going toe to toe over here. And basically everybody's sitting around watching in amazement. You know what I mean? Usopp and Nami, and he's just sitting there. He's like, "Wow, I can't believe this. They're doing these killing blows, and blocking them perfectly and everything else. They're so evenly matched." But yet, you think about it, they've been doing this for 100 years. So pretty much, there's a lot of the awe and amazement and wonder. And it pretty much seems like Luffy gets the whole thing about it being this honorable deal. Usopp gets the whole thing too. Nami's kind of trying to sneak away. She just doesn't understand why they're fighting everything else. And Usopp basically breaks it down listen, it's like they both wear a flag of pride on their chest, right? And neither one of them wants to give in because that would be like giving up that flag. It would be like shaming themselves. So it's really kind of a cool thing because you see again that from both points of view. Some people just kind of think like Nami and Vivi are just kind of like, this is pointless. Why are they still fighting? They don't even remember what they're fighting about anymore, right? That's so stupid. And then you've got the other camp with Luffy and Usopp, and they're kind of thinking, and again, they're still kind of split off into the 2 different areas, so they're not back together yet, but whatever. I mean, they're close enough. My point is the 2 different camps of thinking is how it works out. So anyway, after a while, they kind of attack each other for a while or whatever, and then they're just like, 73,466 battles, and 73,466 draws, and they're like, ha 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 ha. So they kind of just go and basically like shake hands, like good battle, and now we'll just go and continue on with our lives. So, so anyway, so Broggy winds up going and saying, hey, you know what, I found these humans over here, and they gave me some of their ale. And Dory's like, oh, I haven't had ale in a while, you know. And then they kind of make the connection, you know, on the ground there. Obviously, the smaller folks, Luffy and stuff, makes the connection. Oh, okay, geez, they're hooked up with them and that sort of thing. So then we wind up going. We get to the whole deal about the log pose, and Nami goes and says, you know, she goes, is it true? You know, it takes a year for the log pose to reset. and you know, and they say, well, yeah, that's why you see so many human skulls on the island, because most of them get attacked by dinosaurs. They starve. They try to attack us. They just don't make it. You know what I mean? So anyway, and then they're like, well, is there any way to speed up the process? You know, and they say, well, no, unfortunately, the only thing, you know, that you can do is you can take your chances, obviously. Or you can use the eternal pose that we have, which points towards Elbaph. And they said, but and then Dory goes, but that's what we're fighting over. So if one of you, you know, if one of you wants to go and try to take that from us, like try to best us to get it, you're welcome to. And then Luffy's like, no, we don't need to go to Elbaph anyway, okay? Vivi's kind of freaking out because she's thinking about like having to spend a year there, even if they can survive. She's like, you know, eventually when we do get to Alabasta, it's gonna be ruined, it's gonna be crumbled and burning to the ground, right? I need to get back there like yesterday, you know, because of the civil war that's erupting. So certainly time is something that's not on their side. And again, like I said, it's really kind of just cool to see these two giants, you know, going at it. So they wind up sitting down, and for the last chapter in a volume, this one does kind of move and read and go pretty quickly. You know, I'm trying to cover all the main points certainly, but the general gist of it is that then they go and sit down to go and have some ale and you know what have you. And Usopp's basically talking about he's enamored with them, and he pretty much wants to become a great warrior like them, you know. And he doesn't want to become a giant. He just wants to become a great, brave warrior that pretty much has something to stand for and something to fight. And that's like their treasure is their honor. And they explain that basically their honor, you know, that they have, that's what they treasure the most. You know what I mean? Is knowing that they're these elite warriors of Elbaph, of the, you know, this great warrior tribe, you know, type of thing, or village. So, like I said, very, very cool how it works out. We then go and we have, excuse me, we have Dory goes to take a sip of the ale that's been given to him, right? And as he goes and drinks it, all of a sudden an explosion happens, you know, and like comes out of his mouth, whatever. And they're like, "What the hell? The ale exploded, right?" And he just falls back on the ground, you know. And they're trying to immediately figure out and see what the hell's going on here. You know, of course, all the Straw Hats are like, well, what the hell, you know? And then, I think it's Nami who goes and says, well, maybe it was Broggy who, you know, basically like, you know, slipped an explosive into his ale and this and that to win. And then Luffy goes and points out, and he's like, really? Or maybe it's Usopp, but they're like, you know, you really think that they've been fighting like this for 100 years and getting into these draws and battles just so they could do something underhanded now? There's no way that either one of them did it. And then even as Dory's laying on the ground, you know, like smoke coming out of his mouth, half dead, you know, he's sitting there and he's going, it wasn't Broggy, right? So then Broggy goes and gets up, and he gets his nuts in a knot and gets all angry. And he's kind of gets up, and he's just like, well, if it wasn't him, then who? You're the only other ones here type of deal, you know? So, and they're like, well, we didn't do it, you know? Well, then Luffy goes and he's just like, you know what, that's it. Enough is enough. And the chapter and the volume kind of ends with Luffy going and getting up to him. And he's like, yeah, excuse me, Vivi. He's like, we're just going to have to go toe-to-toe, you know. So he goes and he winds up telling him, he's like, listen here, mister. You know, I've had about enough of this. So, you know, Luffy is well, at least it clearly looks like it's like Luffy's going to punch him in the mouth over here. And even Vivi's like, you can't fight him and this and that, but Luffy doesn't care. He doesn't care how big you are. He doesn't care how strong you are. Luffy is determined, and he is just completely tunnel vision to whatever he's doing. So if he finds that now, or he thinks that now his crew is in danger, he is going to go and do whatever he has to do, you know, to obviously to take care of that. So that's how the volume wraps up. The chapter question, folks, is how far would you take it for honor? Would you waste years of your life? Or would you just do something, whether it be underhanded to backstab the other person, or even just to kind of throw the fight yourself just because you got tired of wasting your time? Let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, and put the answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Remember, brothers and sisters, to share, subscribe, spread the word of the nation to others, and of course, if you like watching the videos, watching them is always much appreciated. Have a nice day.